stitching friends. I'm Amy. I'm the Globe-Trotting Stitcher, and it's great to be back with you. I hope that you've all been doing well, and if you are just finding us for the first time, welcome. I hope that you like what we're doing here and that you'll decide to stick around. Also hope that you like the projects that we're working on. If you're a returning friend and subscriber, welcome back. It's great to see you again. We hope that you've all been well. I think just a couple of quick life things and then we'll get into the stitching. So first of all, I think the biggest thing that's been kind of happening for us personally is my dad we celebrated my dad's birthday last weekend, which was really fantastic. Those of you who are regulars here know that my dad had some pretty serious health problems late last year and has had a bit of a slow recovery, although he is doing well. And so I think it was really special and meaningful to be able to celebrate his birthday as a family, and we're just thankful he's here to have another birthday. I think one of the things that was really special is, and what I think probably none of our viewers know, so my dad, although he's not a professional baker, he makes all of, since before I was born, he's been making professional quality cakes. And when I say professional quality, I mean like, when he and my mom got married, he made their wedding cake. When Gary and I got married, he made our wedding cake. He made my brother's cake. When we were growing up, he always made us these really amazing birthday cakes, and he did wedding cakes for people at the church. And every year he makes really incredible birthday cakes for my niece and my nephew. And so one of the things we've wanted to do for a long time as a family is pull together all of this, all the photos from many, many years of cake making, to just really put it all in a book or a photo album, to capture all this beautiful, incredible work he's done. Because one of the ways that he says, I love you, is by making people cakes. And so it was just really neat. My sister-in-law, who's really talented and creative, especially at that kind of thing, she took it on as a project, and she pulled together photos from a bunch of different people in the family. And there were so many cakes that she was only able to get the last 10 years worth of his work in there. And so I think there's going to be additional books in the series, as it were. But it was really special because for his birthday, excuse me, she had put together this amazing book that we all gave him, and he got a little bit misty-eyed when he was going through it, and it was just really great to look back on the beautiful things he's made. So it was a fun way to celebrate his birthday, and so that was really, really great to be able to do. I think other than that, we've just been busy. I've told you in recent videos that work is super busy for me right now, and it's been that way. Passed a major milestone this week in the project, and so I've got a couple other big things to take care of, and then I think it'll get moderately quiet for a few weeks, and so we'll get a little bit of a breather. Anyway, wanted to share a couple of quick things before we get into the stitching. So first of all, wanted to tell you about a new Flosstuber that I have discovered. And this is a gentleman Flosstuber, which I always love to promote their channels because I just love it when we have male stitchers joining the Flosstube and the stitching community. I think they make a great addition. So his channel, he's Johnny Saxon. So if you haven't found him, go check him out. He's an Aussie, and he's a younger Saxon.
Sorry, Johnny.
He's a younger guy, and so he's like hip and cool, and which makes me
a Saxon.
But he sounds like an Aussie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how that happened. Anyway, sorry.
I kind of had an internal laugh at myself when I said he's hip and cool, because as soon as you say that about somebody, you automatically sound not hip and not cool. But he's more of the younger generation of stitchers, and just got a lot of energy, a really great natural presence on the camera, and he's stitching a lot of beautiful things. And so I really enjoyed it. I think he's only got 2, maybe 3 cross-stitch videos out. And he's just recently released a new one, so I haven't had a chance to see that yet. But his first video I watched and really enjoyed it. So if you haven't discovered him yet, go check him out. I think you'll really like him. One other thing I wanted to tell you guys about, I ran across something on social media over the last couple of weeks that I just thought was hysterical. And I wish I ran across a historic sampler that I wish I had found this myself in a shop somewhere. I have no idea who owns it. I have no idea where this sampler is or, where it originated. But I saw this picture and I just thought it was a riot. So it says, it starts out like as your kind of classic little girl sampler, where you've got the beginning of the alphabet at the top of the sampler, and it sort of trails off before she gets to the end of the alphabet. And she stitched, Emma made this in 1877 and hated every minute of it. And I thought that was hysterical because, I know we're all so passionate about our samplers and our stitching. And this little girl was not a stitcher. And you could tell she was, obviously she said she hated every minute of it. But I just thought, gosh, I wish I owned that because I would so reproduce it. I just thought it was hysterical. So wanted to share a photo of that with you because I thought you guys would enjoy it. And then wanted to also wrap up quickly, share with you a comment from our last video. So we had some questions about the dogs being able to see out the window when we had the Christmas tree up. And we got a comment from Kelly at Pages and Stitches. Kelly is one of our regular viewers and commenters. She also has a Flosstube channel herself. So if you haven't discovered her yet, she's both a stitcher and a quilter, and go check her out. I really enjoy watching her videos. And she posts every month. Anyway, Kelly also has pets, and so she had posted a comment in response to the video where I wanted to share that I thought was really, really funny. So she said, "Hear me out, Gary. If you have access to a 3D printer or know someone who does, you should get a little black Sophie dog with a cape printed to add to your action figure collection. Window Guardian is definitely a superhero name." She was making noise to ward off some seedy-looking characters out on the street. The criminal underbelly of Washington State is her ever-present nemesis. And squirrels. Bear can be her sidekick. And I just thought that was such a funny comment, but it also, it made me laugh because what Kelly does not know is that Bear and Sophie are already superheroes. So it was Sophie's first Halloween with us, so she was still a growing we'd and but their first Halloween they dressed up as Bat Dog and Robin. And we'd had Bear for a couple of years at that point, and I'd always wanted to turn him into Batman for Halloween because from the back he's got, like, with his ears and just the shape of his head, it looks like the Batman cowl. And so I got them costumes, and so he was Bat Dog and he had his black cape. And then Sophie was Robin, and it was so cute. And I tried to put them back in their costumes, in more recent years. And part of it was because Sophie was, still a growing puppy at the time, so she was much smaller. She's also a little bit chunky now. And so she could not fit into her costume to save her life. But at least she couldn't today. But anyway, we'll have to dig up some pictures to share with you guys because they were so cute as Bat Dog and Robin. And that just reminded me of them all dressed up for Halloween. So thank you, Kelly, for the good memory. So why don't we go ahead and get into the stitching, because I know that's what you guys all would like to see. We don't have any finishes or FFOs to share with you this week, but I did want to show you a couple of whips that we've been working on. So the first one I'll share with you is my seasonal piece. I am working on Wildflowers by the Blue Flower, and I'm stitching it on 36 count Peaches and Cream linen by Atomic Ranch. I'm using most of the called for DMC. So the last time you saw this, I was about 2/3 of the way finished with stitching in the verse in the center of the design. I had stitched in all of the green vines that go, that form the borders of the design. Had stitched about maybe 1/2 to 2/3 of the flowers that go down the left side, and then had started stitching in the bottom border. And I was laughing because they're meant to kind of give the effect of bee skeps, but where they were at that point in time, they just looked like somebody really needed to go to the dentist. So anyway, this is where I am right now. So as you can see, I made good progress.
Still looks like there's a tooth issue.
Well, we'll get them a referral. So you can see I've now stitched in the full verse. I've also completely finished the left side of the design. So pages 1 and 3 are now fully stitched. I have started filling in, I guess you could call it the tooth bling, down here along the bottom.
She's adding fillings.
Putting in fillings was really funny, actually, because when I was working on this, Gary was sitting across the room, and so he was only seeing the back of the design, but I had stitched in the black stitching in the bees, and he made some comment about it looked like tooth decay from the back or something like that.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Anyway, so this is coming on along well, and I've also now begun stitching in some of the flowers on the right-hand side of the design. As I did mention, I have changed out a couple of colors. Primarily here in the center, the vines and all of the green in this design, the called for greens are like a browny, yellowy olive. Actually, this sort of golden tone down here that is the outline of the border, the bee scap kind of shape. That's one of the major called for colors, and it just I wasn't feeling the like brown, yellow, green, olive kind of color for this. I wanted something brighter, more spring-like. So I went with olivey colors for my greens that were not yellowish, brownish undertones. The other problem that I ran into was that on, and I shared this in a prior video, that the white, you're supposed to use B5200 on this. And when I did my floss toss to choose my fabric, that showed up just fine on this fabric. When you're actually stitching, it didn't show up. And so one of our viewers had recommended that I try Pearl White by Color and Cotton, because they said it's brighter and whiter than B5200. So I did pick up a couple of skeins, and unfortunately even that really didn't show up. And so what I've decided to do is just stick with anywhere there's a white flower called for. I'm just gonna choose a different color from the design and stitch all the flowers with color. And then down here at the bottom where you really need to have the whites for the bee wings and the daisies, I'm just doing a light back stitch to bring that out. But yeah, this one is coming along nicely. I think it's really pretty, and it's a little bit busy, but it's still kind of got a delicate feel to it, and I really, really love it. So that is where I am on that. The next whip that I worked on was my Wildcard piece, and that is Bush Market by Hannah's Needlecraft. That is an Etsy store that I will link below. And I am stitching this on 32 count vintage country mocha linen, using all the called for DMC. Now I was telling you in our last video that I was changing up my rotation, and so this is a piece, oh, sorry, that was a little loud. This is a piece that normally I've been only getting like one day or a few hours of progress on every couple of months. And so this is the first time I've gotten to spend a week on it. And that was really fun to work on. So the last time you saw it, which was probably the middle of last year, I had finished stitching, doing all the cross stitch in the tree. I had started doing a little bit of black back stitch in the tree, and I had stitched in, there's a woman standing underneath the tree holding a baby. So that's kind of where I was. And so here it is right now. So one of the things I was telling you last time was that in this design, the back stitch, there's a bunch of different colors of back stitch that are called for. And in the tree, it calls for green back stitch. And so I had back stitched basically the whole tree in the green. And aside from the outline on the outside of the tree, you could not see any of the back stitch. And I was like, well, this doesn't really add anything to the design. So I thought about it, and I decided I'm going to frog all that out, and I'm going to put in black back stitch. And when I tell you that you literally could not see the green back stitch, I mean, I spent a good part of the week that I was working on this frogging out that back stitch. And it was so invisible that I actually had to pull out my chart to see in some places where the back stitching was, because I couldn't even see it on the fabric where I had stitched it. So I spent a good bit of time ripping out all that back stitch. Then I put in all the back stitch so the tree is fully back stitched. And then I also had got a good bit of progress on stitching in the elements underneath the tree where the market is starting to show up. So I got this bag of greens stitched and back stitched. Got a chicken here with no feet. The feet will come later. Got some pumpkins. We've got a little boy here. We've got a couple of new folks in the market emerging. So yeah, this one was really fun to work on. It was nice to have some beautiful bright colors. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to when it comes out again. But it just felt good to give this some actual time and to see some real progress on it. So that is Bush Market. All right, the next whip we are going to talk to you about is Gary's. So Gary, over to you.
Oh, okay. I'm never ready for that when it happens. So I don't have a teleprompter, so I'm going to read some of this from my phone. I'm doing Captain America, which is designed by Awesome Pattern Studios, which happens to be an Etsy shop. So if you're on Etsy, you might want to go check that out. I'm stitching it on 16 count pewter Ada with the called for DMC, but I really wanted to say that I'm stitching it on 16 count sharkskin gray. But she told me I can't do that. Anyway, so the last time that you saw this, I was filling in the remainder of the black that needs to be done. Now, well, anyway, that's all I was doing. There was really not much else going on. The way it looks now is I filled in quite a bit of the black. There's still quite a bit more to go, but it's very challenging, this one, because you'll have a line of like 20 black boxes, then you'll have like 14, skip one, do two, skip one, do three. I know I've talked about this over and over again, but you really have to pay attention on this one or you can easily get the count wrong, as I've mentioned several times in this. But yeah, I'm filling out the black. I'm working in like in rectangles rather than trying to go all the way across because that was hard. So if you look at this, you'll see by your perspective, far right, I finished all the black in that panel, and then I'm going to be doing the black in the middle panel, and then I'm going to do the black in the last panel. And by panel, I mean like from either 10 to 20 stitches. It all depends on the grouping. So I'm just treating it that way because it's a lot easier than trying to do it all the way across. It would be a nightmare trying to count that. So, and I don't like nightmares. So that's where I am on Captain America. I haven't done anything on Human Being, but I'm thinking that by the time we do our next video, which should be, we shoot in a couple of weeks, today's the 5th, I should have all of the black in the Captain America done, and I want to add at least another letter to Human Beings, and then we'll go from there. But that's all I've been doing, except other stuff, house cleaning, picture taking, video shooting, stuff like that. But that's all I've done on Captain America. But it's actually, I did get a lot done, and I'm happy because I can really now see that there's an end of the light to this thing, or end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a tunnel, there's light, I'm heading towards it. Anyway, so that's it. That's where I am on that. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, one more whip to share with you, and that is my weekend stitch. I am working on Butterfly Port Mauve by Heaven and Earth Designs, stitching on 28 count white easy grid Lugana 2/1 using a combination of half stitch and tent stitch. The last time you saw this, I had finally finished page 1 and was working my way down through page 2. We were starting to see a little bit of a curlicue vine emerge, but primarily still in background. And so I was at about 10,500 stitches the last time you saw this. So here's where it is right now. So I'm currently at about 11,300 stitches. So I put in not quite 800. As you can see, more of this curlicue vine is really starting to show up. And so it's nice to have that element. I'm also getting very much into the fill-in down here where the key is. And so I'm expecting that key is just going to become increasingly filled in and clear what it is. So really looking forward to that. I know there's like a nice bright blue that's actually in the key itself. And so I think it's really going to be fun to get out of like the pinks and reds and oranges and into another color. Just that in itself, as well as having an element of the design emerging, is going to be really fun. So yeah, that's where this one is, and just consistently plugging away on it. Slowly but surely we're making some progress, but still very much enjoying it. So that is it as far as stitching is concerned. I have a lot of bit of haul to share with you. And I don't normally have a lot of haul to share on our channel, partially because I don't buy a lot of haul anymore. I've got a decent sized stash, and I'm not, I know collecting is also a hobby for many people, and I've never been a big collector myself. I'm more of a, if I know I'm going to stitch it, I'll buy it. If I'm not sure I'm going to stitch it, I'm going to sit for a bit and think about it. And so a lot of times if I see something I like, I'll put it on my wish list, and I'll see if 6 months down the road I'm still interested in it, still want it, or if I'm still thinking about it. And if that's the case, I'll go and buy it. But I basically in the last month have spent my entire stitching budget for the year, practically. Not quite, but definitely got a lot more haul than I normally would. So several things to share with you. So let's see here. First of all, Gary and I had an appointment that we had to go to that's in the same town where our local needle workshop is, which is Threadneedle Street in Issaquah, Washington. And so when we finished our appointment, we decided, well, let's just pop in and poke around.
She decided.
I suggested. We'll discuss this later, dear. So anyway, we did pop in, we poked around, saw some stuff. Gary actually saw a Mirabilia that it was I think the first Mirabilia that you've seen that you were like, I'd kind of like to stitch that maybe. We didn't get it. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Okay. I was at the hospital, so there were drugs in the veins. I don't know what I was thinking. Memorabilia or Mirabilia. See what I mean? I don't know what I'm talking about.
See, now I have to buy it for you for Christmas or something.
Well, I'll have it a long time.
Well, anyway, Gary did have a brief moment where he was like, that's a really cool Mirabilia. We didn't get it. But I did pick up a couple of old lavender and lace charts that I have admired for a long time and decided it was finally time to get them before they're no longer gettable. So one was Tea Garden. I really just love those beautiful little 3 individual flower things. I don't know whether I'll make them into pillows or just small framed pieces, but I think they're lovely, and so I'm really happy to have them. And then I also picked up Angel of Freedom. She doesn't really look like an Angel of Freedom to me, to be honest. She looks more like she's sort of a Christmas angel, but I think she's just really pretty. I love her colors. I'm not big on angels. That's just never been my thing, but I do love her colors. So I don't know when I'll stitch her, but now I have her. The other thing I did was I sent away to a couple different French shops. I really, over the last couple of years, have become drawn to the French style of cross-stitch design. It looks very different than I think what is fairly typical here in the US. And I just, as much as I love also what we've got, I really love the way French designers are designing things. And so I've been keeping my eye on 2 different shops for a while and decided to go ahead and send away and get a couple of charts from each of them. They're not available as PDFs, so it took a while to get them in the mail, but I can't even begin to try and pronounce the name of this. It's Une croix le thème d'une thé. We'll pretend like I said that correctly. And interestingly enough, this particular designer does not name their charts. They just use a reference number for the chart. So this one is just a really beautiful stag or deer in the woods with some presents and some animals. And then this one is, I'm calling it Joyeux Noël because that's what it says. And again, it's a deer in kind of a wintry woodland sort of scene. I think Pam from Just Keep Stitching showed this within the last couple of months. She also got this. So really lovely. And then also picked up by Les Broduzet Parisien. Sorry, French friends. This really sweet, just banner or garland with birds and flowers, and I thought that was very pretty. Same designer. It's a small collection of little Eastery designs that Very, very cute, have a really great vintage feel. And then again, the same designer with this just really beautiful, like kind of floral wreath designs with a bird and sort of a vintage Christmas feel. So really, really loved all of those. Again, I don't know when I'll stitch them, but I loved them enough that I was like, I know I will. And then the last thing I did, I had a bit of an indulgence and I picked up a new project bag. And I don't normally show project bags, but this is so beautiful. So I love Buckleberry Quilts. That's an Etsy shop. They're also on Instagram. And her bags are absolutely impeccable. But this was from the new, Strawberries and Cream line from Laundry Basket Quilts. And I just thought this was a gorgeous project bag. And so when that popped into her shop, I could not hit buy fast enough. I just love it. So if you haven't discovered her, she is absolutely outstanding, and her bags are very good quality. So so that's it for haul. Won't be buying anything new for a while. And I think that kind of does it for us today as well. So just quickly, what we're going to be working on between now and the next time we film an update. I am going to spend a week working on my Rose Trellis in. We'll see how much progress I can get. I'm in a heavy confetti section, and so I think the number of stitches that I'll be able to get in will slow down, but I think the impact of those will probably be pretty fantastic as they go. I'm also going to spend a week working on my new sampler, which is Blackberry House by Plum Street Samplers. That is a stitch along, and our hashtag is Blackberries for Dad SAL. So looking forward to spending some time on that. And then, as Gary said, he is going to be working on Captain America and also human beings. So yeah, I think that does it for us today. We hope that you are doing well. We hope you're enjoying your stitching. If you're not already a subscriber, please do subscribe and come back and spend time with us. You can hit the bell to get notifications when we post a new video. You can, we'd love it if you left a comment. Sorry, my brain just went boop. We would love it if you left a comment. We do really enjoy all of your comments, and you guys leave such sweet or fun comments, and so we always really enjoy those. You can connect with us between videos at either globetrottingstitcher@gmail.com or on Instagram, globetrotting_stitcher. So we hope that you all are doing well. We hope that you are stitching on things that are giving you a lot of joy, and we will see you really soon. So take care. Bye.